Coming up, strong to severe storms move across the region, leaving some damage behind.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The storms have moved out, but not before causing some damage, especially in northern Laurel County. We've seen several pictures where there was damage to roofs, fences, and barns. It also, as you can see here, blew the steeple off the First Baptist Church in East Bernstadt, and we're also told a cabin under construction was blown off its foundation. Some trees and power lines were also toppled. Now it's going to get cooler again. Meteorologist Evan Hatter has the latest in our first look at the forecast. Evan?
And it's already getting cooler out there this evening, I should say. We got up into the middle and upper 70s this afternoon before the storms moved in. Many of us are in the 50s right now. Outside at the moment, you see from our camera on Interstate 64 at Moorhead. We still have a few showers scattered about the region this evening. London Corbin Airport, you can see the low clouds still working over the area. Low 50s at the moment. 51 at London Corbin Airport. This is where we ended up today. Many of us in the middle 70s. Monticello got to 78, Middlesboro to 77. Quite a contrast with what we're dealing with now. Low to middle 50s as we head into the early evening hours, the early overnight hours, I should say. The last of our heaviest showers and storms pushing now out of Pike County, out of southwest Virginia. Just a few leftover showers elsewhere around the region. The main area for severe weather tonight has been in the exact same area as it was last night in South Georgia and western South Carolina. Though, as you heard Steve say, we did have our share of wind damage, it would appear, in northern Laurel County. We are out of the severe weather risk. That's just a general thunderstorm risk, and even then, that's not much as we head into the overnight hours. Middle and upper 40s overnight as those showers come to an end. I'll have the latest update on when the cold weather in earnest arrives coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. As international outrage intensifies over apparent Russian atrocities in Ukraine, the U.S. and Western allies on Wednesday announced a new wave of financial punishment against the Kremlin. CBS's Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
The mayor of Mariupol estimates more than 5,000 people have been killed by Russia's relentless bombardments in the southern port city, and he accused Russian troops of using mobile crematoriums to burn bodies to cover up war crimes. Outside Ukraine's capital of Kyiv, authorities are gathering the dead and evidence of atrocities left behind in suburbs, including Bucha, before Russia's troops retreated.
Responsible nations have to come together to hold these perpetrators accountable.
On Wednesday, the U.S. and its allies unveiled new sanctions against Russia in response to the escalating brutality. The new sanctions in part target Russian President Vladimir Putin's adult children, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's wife and daughter, and Russian Security Council officials.
Just in 1 year, our sanctions are likely to wipe out the last 15 years of Russia's economic gains.
The Biden administration is also sending an additional $100 million worth of Javelin anti-tank missiles to Ukraine, bringing the total amount of security assistance to the country to $1.7 billion since the war began.
The Ukrainians are bravely fighting for their country, and they have denied Mr. Putin so many of his strategic objectives.
The Pentagon and defense analysts assess that Russian forces are resupplying and preparing for renewed battle in Ukraine's eastern Donbass region. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The Biden administration is also sanctioning Russia's largest financial institution, and the president is signing an executive order banning new investment in Russia. And for the first time since the invasion, the Department of Justice announced criminal charges against a Russian oligarch for violating previous sanctions. The ongoing war and resulting humanitarian crisis in Eastern Europe has resulted in an outpouring of support from all over, including here in the Commonwealth. A Georgetown couple is back home after spending weeks at the Poland-Ukraine border. Linda and Robert Cornett say they were tired of watching the news out of Ukraine and wanted to do something, so they booked flights to Poland. Robert shuttled refugees from the border to safety. Linda helped mothers and babies in a tent on the Ukrainian side.
And the only time anything was unusual at all was we were actually at the border. And then you're seeing obviously people coming across the border and the chaos trying to get them organized there, but perfectly safe. And the only reason somebody not to go is that they just don't have the time or the resources to get over there.
The Cornets say one of the most surprising parts of their trip has actually been the reception since coming home. Robert says he's had complete strangers offer to buy him breakfast after hearing about their travels. Church and city officials in Jenkins are doing what they can to honor and recognize Ukrainians. Tonight, people were invited to the city of Jenkins Park to pray for the people caught up in this war. WYMT's Zach Hawk reports.
Pastors and ministers alongside city officials and the people of Jenkins met to offer support for Ukrainians on Wednesday.
I'd like to say that we're praying for them and that we're for them, and we want to see them succeed. They've been fighting a good battle over there.
As the atrocities of war are shared widely,
and we pray, God, today for Ukraine, God.
The people of Jenkins say they felt compelled to offer support.
We want to recognize what's going on in Ukraine and let people know we're there with them. Hopefully some of this gets to them, and we can't imagine what they're going through.
Some of those attended because they say they have a special understanding of what the Ukrainian people are fighting for.
I'm a 20-year Army veteran, so I have been deployed 3 times in support of our country's freedom. So I think it's important to support everyone who is out there defending freedom's cause all across the globe.
For others, supporting Ukraine is a moral cause.
For me, when somebody is trying to hurt someone that's believing in the right things, that's wrong against God anyway.
Rutherford said he appreciates the community is united since the start of this war.
And now we come together, the whole country. That's what it's supposed to be. Take care of your neighbors. That's what it's all about, helping other people.
A show of Commonwealth camaraderie from Kentucky to Kyiv. In Jenkins, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
A worker at the Wayne County Jail has been charged for allegedly stealing from a co-worker. State police say Gary York went into a co-worker's purse, took out her credit card, and wrote the number down. They say he then went home and paid his utility bill with it. He's charged with fraudulent use of a credit card, which is a misdemeanor. They say York is from Albany, and the warrant was served by the Clinton County Sheriff's Office. 2 people are dead after a crash in Letcher County this morning. It happened on US 119 near Pine Mountain. Troopers say a semi-truck hauling logs lost control around a curve, ran into a ditch, and fell over on its top. Police have still not released the names of the 2 inside the truck or what caused it to lose control. The road was closed for several hours. Elliott County Sheriff's deputies say street signs are not meant to be collector's items. Several street signs were reported stolen along Wilbur Way, Pecan, Perry Rose Branch, and J. Barker. It's causing concerns about the safety of residents and could mean a delay from first responders when responding to an emergency.
I don't understand. What can they do with them? Don't make sense.
It cost the county $100 to replace each sign. The Sheriff's Office is asking anyone with information to contact them. They can be reached at 606-738-5422. You can remain anonymous. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice has missed deadlines in recent months to pay the U.S. government the millions of dollars he owes in penalties for unsafe working conditions at his coal mines. Justice was ordered to pay more than $5 million by a federal judge in April 2020 after the U.S. Attorney's Office and the U.S. Mine Safety and Health Administration brought a lawsuit against 23 of his companies, saying he failed to pay fees associated with hundreds of mine safety penalties. Federal court documents claim since at least December, Justice has been late on payments. Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul is running for a 3rd term this year, and his campaign has raised nearly $3.5 million in the first part of 2022. That increases Paul's campaign war chest to $8.6 million. His total is more than 3 times the amount he raised in all of 2015 and 2016 ahead of his last campaign. A campaign spokesperson says it is proof that Paul's agenda is supported by the people and is what they want representing them in the Senate. Paul is expected to face Democrat Charles Booker in November, assuming Booker wins the Democratic primary. A busy day in Frankfort. Governor Andy Beshear issued 8 vetoes today, including the controversial Senate Bill 1. The bill shifts power from parents and school councils to superintendents in terms of hiring principals and deciding some curriculum. A revised version of the bill also added the language from Senate Bill 138 that dictates what can be taught in history classes. The measure has been called an anti-critical race theory bill. In his veto message, Governor Beshear called the bill, quote, a step backward for public education in Kentucky. In a statement tonight, the ACLU of Kentucky called similar bills an attempt to whitewash history. Governor Beshear also vetoed Senate Bill 83. It would ban transgender girls from girls' sports in Kentucky from 6th grade through college. In his veto message, Governor Beshear pointed to the rules already in place with the Kentucky High School Athletic Association. He also said the measure most likely violates the U.S. Constitution's equal protection rights and noted Republican governors in Utah and Indiana vetoed similar bills. Another noteworthy veto, House Bill 248. That bill would transfer the ability to use taxpayer dollars toward legal challenges to the constitutionality of a bill to the Attorney General. This comes after Governor Beshear filed several lawsuits to block Republican-led legislation from going into effect. The governor saying in his veto message, House Bill 248 violates several sections of Kentucky's Constitution. We'll have to wait and see how many of these bills are overridden, how many of these vetoes are overridden in the coming days. Well, St. Joseph London recently honored members of the Kentucky National Guard for their service to the facility during the most recent surge in COVID-19 cases. Guard members assisted clinical teams and served in other areas such as supply chain, food service, security, and housekeeping. Leaders thanked members during an appreciation luncheon before they concluded their deployment at the hospital. The University of Kentucky is planning pay raises for its employees. UK President Eli Capilouto says all employees will get a minimum raise of $1,000 on July 1st. Then employees will get additional pay raises on top of that based on their department's share of the overall payroll and performance. The university says it will double its average investment in compensation from $8.6 million to $17 million. The Appalachian Arts and Entertainment Awards are hitting the Mountain Arts Center stage in Prestonsburg this weekend. The second award show kicks off Saturday, bringing people from across the region to the first in-person event. Organizers have been preparing for months and are putting the finishing touches on the MAC this week, anxious to see the space full of life as they celebrate Appalachian talent Saturday night.
It really shows what we have in Appalachia in the 13 states. It shows that we can be the core, the center of that industry here in East Kentucky, and it's going to be a really special night to showcase all the unbelievable talent.
The show kicks off Saturday at 7 p.m. and will be recorded for a later broadcast, but if you want to see the celebration in person, tickets are still available for the event, which will include a red carpet celebration and more. National Walking Day breezed on by, but a group of walkers who visited Prestonsburg spent the day checking out a trail they say they will not soon forget. America's Walking Club hit the Prestonsburg Passage Trail this morning, one of many Kentucky trails the out-of-state visitors are using to spread the word about their club. They say the Passage Trail was a unique stop for them, offering a well-kept space to walk, socialize, and take in some fresh air.
That's how I got started, was because I needed the exercise, and it's just a pain to get up and have to go out and, you know, walk or run for however long by yourself.
The walkers have stepped all around the world through the years, saying they're always happy to visit a new place and hear locals share stories of pride and history along the way. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, the dangers of the web, a warning to parents about who your children are talking to online.
And our storms push out of the region, and we've got much cooler weather on the way for the end of the week. I've got those details coming up next.
Keep going.